In the darkest nights, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Oh, surviving together, victorious, never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you.
Hey, everyone. How you doing this morning? Yes, it's Sunday morning. It's not normal live time. Welcome to Surviving Together, safe place for trauma survivors to connect and build community on their healing journeys, as well as providing trauma-related education for all. That is on our normal lives. Today, I am procrastinating. I want to clean my parents' house, which I'm house sitting at, and I don't want to do it yet. So I thought, I'll hit live and see what happens, see who shows up. Hey, Sven, how you doing? How are things over in your neck of the woods? I know it's much later for you. I have no idea who's going to show up or if anybody else is going to be here today. So it might just be you and I, Sven. I just have so many things on my plate and I really don't want to do any of them. Do you ever have this? We can talk about actual procrastination and why it happens, and procrastination and trauma and strategies for overcoming procrastination. Or we can just talk. Hi, Santiago. How are you? You're new to me. Hello, hello, hello. I'm glad you're here. This is an abnormal live time for me, but I just wanted to see what everyone was up to on this Sunday. I think everyone's still on Sunday. If I get any of my Australia friends here, is it still Sunday there? Probably still Sunday, right? Let me look at the time. Yeah, still barely Sunday there. Not Monday. Nobody's in the future yet. So may the 4th be with you. To every Star Wars fan that I have out there, welcome. And I hope you're having a good day, celebrating it in your own way. I'm actually going to see my brother today. He is a huge Star Wars fan. He used to be. I don't know if he considers himself more Star Wars or Star Trek. What about you guys? Do you have a preference for Star Wars versus Star Trek? I was always more of a Star Wars person myself. I'm not huge into sci-fi, unlike the rest of my family, particularly my mother and my brother. I often thought I was adopted growing up, to be quite honest with you. My interests were always so very different than what theirs were. I really honestly thought I was adopted. And my brother and I look nothing alike. At least I don't think we look alike. Spends Star Wars all day long. Yes. I know that there are lots of Trekkies out there, and I'm not bashing you at all. Everyone's got their own little thing. But I was never very much. Now, my brother loves Star Wars, and he went to see it like 7 times when it first came out. I was not allowed to see it in the theaters. I was too young. I was only 5, I believe, when the first Star Wars came out, or episode 4, but A New Hope, what I consider the first Star Wars. And I think any Star Wars person really does feel it's the first Star Wars. You can't count the prequels. They sucked anyway. Anyway, until Star Trek, I mean, it was on the TV. Was big into that, but it was when the movies started coming out. They really got into it. And then what was the show that came after they stopped? They had Star Trek: The Next Generation, I think, with Captain Picard, right? And then that ended, and then they had Deep Space Nine, I think. I only know this because of my family, to be quite honest with you. I know very little about Star Trek, comparatively speaking. I'm not much into movies. I don't go to the movies very often. I Most movies I've seen are that I could uh, I don't quote movies. Again, that's my family. They know who did the music for it. They know they're very much into entertainment, and I never really was. Hey, Dana, what's going on, girl? Yeah, I just pushed live because I don't want to clean. I mean, I do, I want to clean because I want my parents to be able to come back to a clean house. My mom has some mobility issues. This is a lot of house. It's the house I grew up in. So having two fully functional adults and kids running around this place now to just them and the pets, it's a lot. And it's really too much for my dad. I know, Davey, I really wish you could be here. You and me together, man, we would put on some music and just pump this out. I do have some helpers coming. My brother's coming later. My son promised to come over. I'll probably have to wake him up about 2 because he's actually been off work this weekend, which is kind of a rarity for him. So Lord knows what he's been up to. But it's a huge yard, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done out there that falls solely on my dad. He doesn't want to hire somebody for everything. I think particularly in this climate, we don't know what's going to happen with stocks and prices, food prices and goods prices. And it is, they basically live on, fixed income, and investments, whatever they have. It's got to be a little scary, I mean, my dad doesn't want to have to go back to work. My mom can't go back to work. I heard about Social Security. It's going to get a little tougher to get that. There's certain requirements that you have to meet, and you have to verify that you're meeting them and things like that. So heaven only knows what's going to happen, there. I've been hearing since I was, in my late 20s, I think that Social Security will be bankrupt by the time I get there. So I don't even know if there'll be a safety net that way for me, which is kind of scary. I'll probably be working till I die. Hopefully this YouTube thing will take off. I would definitely have to be working my true crime channel a lot, I would say. Yeah, you're being careful buying. I have actually heard that because there is the 90-day grace on some of the tariffs, that certain things that you can freeze, you might want to start buying now, like coffee, fish, seafood, things of that nature. Chocolate, if you need to have a good supply of it all the time, because the prices are going to go up even more with the tariffs, because they're just not things that we produce here in the United States. I was stunned the last time that I went to the gas station, and I thought, oh, I was here. I was like, yeah, I'll just pop in. I'll grab a chocolate bar. Anybody else remember when candy bars used to be like 50 cents? When did it become $2 for a regular candy bar? I was stunned, absolutely stunned. Hey, Kevin, what's up? Tuber Chat, how are you? If you guys are a small channel, you can go over and check him out. He helps small channels connect and grow. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just hit live today, and said, we'll see what happens. So may the 4th be with you. For everybody who is in the Star Wars world, I should probably watch that today. Ooh, that would be good. Except I don't have a DVD player anymore. It's got to be on TV somewhere, right? I am at my parents' house, and they have like every channel known to man. There's one thing my parents love TV. Uh, I have not had the TV on. I don't. I mean, I own TVs. We do have a streaming service. My son watches sometimes, but when I got divorced, I moved in with my parents for a little while. Got myself established again because I moved cities. Tried to figure out where I was going to live, and when we moved, I really was trying. I was a single parent of a 5-year-old. Well, I was a little older than that at that time, by the time we moved out. But, I tried to keep all the bills down to a minimum. And, with having just a cable bill at that point in time being like $80, $100, just did not seem worth it. My son was over at my parents' house often enough. I'm like, you can watch TV over there. I think we got Netflix fairly early on. And by that, I mean, maybe after we've been there for a year, we had lots of DVDs, and he doesn't watch a whole lot of TV. He does his gaming, and, everything's on the phones now anyway. And you can stream your phones, mirror your phones up to the TV. So 3 channels growing up. Absolutely. Us old ones. We do not cable. I mean, I remember when we got our first cable box. I remember when cable came out. That was like huge. I was so excited. It was just like, oh my gosh, we don't have to watch the same thing all the time. Anybody else have those big old console TVs too? It's just huge TVs, and the button always broke on that. So you'd have a pair of pliers, the locking pliers that you just would have. So you could actually turn the channel after a while. 4 if you counted UHF, but you couldn't always get UHF in, and there never really was anything on, at least for littler kids, because, we were under 10 at the time. Hey, Judge, what's up? How are you doing today? Sven, you worked as a butcher for 36 years. Wow. That's a long time to be in something. And that is only, I was just going to ask you, how's TV over there? So when you were growing up, you had one Danish channel and one Swedish channel, and that was that. Do you remember getting like what is the equivalent of our cable here? Did that come first before streaming services? I know nothing about TV in Europe, pretty much, other than like the BBC. Yeah, Amy Washburn, I still remember her. She was the first person I knew in school who I was somewhat friends with who got MTV, because she had cable. Nobody else did. That was like, wow. Go and watch music videos. What were music videos? You get to watch those like all the time. Oh my gosh. Her house was so fun anyway. They had like a pinball machine and a slot machine, and it was heaven. Judge has his parents' console TV with radio and 8-track on one side and a record player on the other, and the TV in the middle. We used to have one of those. It didn't have the TV though, but it had the radio, and it had a phonograph, record player, and I'm trying to remember if it had 8-track in it or not. But it was really long. My parents had that for a long, long time. I don't know what they did with it. We actually have my aunt's old TV. Well, she's my great aunt, her old TV down in the basement. And it's one of the really old ones. So it's, the big TV, but the screen's only like this big. So I think it's from the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And definitely doesn't work anymore. But you get old school antenna. Yeah, we had that as well. So my dad would be on the roof, my brother would be outside, and then I was inside by the TV. So I would say whether the picture was clear. I would relay that to my brother, who would then relay it to my dad up on the roof, and he would adjust the antenna that we had up there. No problem, Dana. You have a good one. Hey, Carmel, how you doing? I'm procrastinating cleaning my parents' house, so I decided to push live and see what happens and see who was out there today. And right now we are just talking about old TVs. May the 4th be with you if Star Wars is something that is on the uh, near to your heart. I think I am going to see if that's on today. It's got to be on somewhere, or at least a Star Wars movie. But I really will only watch episode 4, 5, and 6. I saw the first one of the sequels, I guess, so it would be episode 7. I did not see episode 8. To me, I don't know if it really got great reviews. I just and the prequels might as well not even exist in my world. So yeah, what do you do? So Carmel, tell me, since you're Netherlands, about TV when you were growing up, because we had the 3 channels, a regular 3 channels, and then 4 if you counted UHF. But like I said, it didn't really come in very well, even with the antenna, and it didn't even have stuff on all day, like during the day. And then what was it, about 10, 11 o'clock, something like that, or midnight, it would go to snow with that white noise. I always, if you ever came downstairs in the middle of the night, there'd be my dad asleep in front of the TV and with the TV on, and that noise. uh, Judge had 4 and 1 was Mexican channel. Well, that's interesting. Where did you grow up? Sven said he had 2, one Danish and one Swedish, which makes sense for Denmark. Does anybody remember getting their cable? I don't even know when my parents, I don't even think they've switched. I think they still have cable, like cable service anyway, with the cable package and the 100 channels or whatever. I don't even think they've switched over to straight streaming, which they should. They like their things the way they like their things. And I think that that's just one, they do watch a lot of TV. At least my mom does. And my dad watches this news. So it works for them, I guess. But, definitely not me. So I'm not cleaning. I said I could talk about procrastination and get into some substantive stuff with that, but that's only if anybody's interested. I pulled a few things up just in case. Your father bought a TV in 1975 and made $7 payments a month. Wow. It's crazy to think about that kind of money in terms of how much things cost now. And some things, the price has come down so much, for a 32-inch TV, you can get, a nice one for $100 or less. And other things like cars and how expensive they've gotten, even for your basic car, is just absolutely insane to me. I bought my current car 6 years ago, and I bought it new because my old one was like completely dead. It was gonna die any day. I drove that thing into the ground, and I was commuting, so I had an hour commute each way. So I decided to buy new, and I about puked when I started looking at the prices of just basic models. And because of living in Michigan and the snow and ice and everything that we deal with, I wanted an SUV. I wanted all-wheel drive. I'd never had that before. And my last one was a small SUV, the car before that, and I liked being up higher, especially being on the road so much. Prices with that, just absolutely insane. So I'm going to be cleaning my parents' house, taking care of the yard. I'm not sure kind of how we're going to divvy it up. There's so much here that could get done, that needs to get done. I think I'm going to just tackle like the main areas that they're in, do the vacuuming around the house, and then make sure everything in the kitchen and the dinette, the living room, and then their bedroom and bathroom are clean. So I think that's it for inside the house, and that'll probably take me the rest of the day. And I think the boys are gonna want to be outside. Might get outside and do some things for a little bit, get some fresh air, because it's supposed to be fairly nice today. I'm not sure if it's going to get up to 70 or not. How's your weather out there in Europe? I would have to look on the map. We're just north of like the 45th parallel. So I don't know where you guys are in relation to that parallel. So what kind of weather you would have around this time? It's going to be fairly nice this week, at least more towards the end of the week. The sun is shining right now. As long as the sun's shining 60 to 70, anywhere in the 60s, it's pleasant to be out. The sun goes away, and for me, it's like it's just a little bit cold. I know for other people that is like totally comfortable and they love it, but I would be a happy snowbird, to be quite honest with you. To be down in the south during the winter months and up here in the summer months, I'd be quite happy. I don't like bugs very much, so I don't think being in the humidity would do me much good. Flow TV. Is that like what we would call cable here in Europe? That's interesting. Yeah, mostly streaming services. I think most people do. Judge, how do you remember this? It says in 77, my father bought a brand new Ford for $2,700. Wow. I remember I think we had pretty much used cars. I want to say later on, my dad got like a new Cutlass or something like that. My mom worked part-time when we were growing up, so she always had a car too, but it was usually a beater car. I remember this orange Asta we had. Oh my gosh, it was black inside. It was like pumpkin orange on the outside, literally. And there was a rip in the carpet in the back seat, so behind the driver's seat. And we would stick our hands in there, and of course it was sandy and dirty and everything, but we didn't care because we found change in there. So I think we ended up ripping up the carpet more, ripping it more because we would get up to our elbows eventually because we'd gotten all the change that was kind of, right there. Uh, but we liked the car for that reason. That was the only place that I know for certain that had an 8-track. It was that car as well. The radio, and it had an 8-track, and we had, I think my mom had like 3 8-tracks. One was the Statler Brothers' greatest hits, one was the Oak Ridge Boys' greatest hits, and I don't remember what the third one is. I want to say it was some sort of 70s music mix because I think there was ABBA on it, but I can't quite remember. You have an eidetic memory. Oh, okay. Well, then that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't have like, well, growing up, until I had my mental break, I had a pretty good memory. It wasn't photographic, but it was pretty close. I could imagine a page of a book and remember what was on it. So, studies, schooling, things of that nature was never all that difficult for me. But I can imagine not ever being able to forget would be extremely hard because we think about, our trauma, and that's our brain's way of protecting us, is suppressing certain parts of the memories, suppressing different pieces of events. But if you're never able to, so do you remember like what you had for breakfast 10 years ago today? I know that there are people with those sorts of memories, and that is just bizarre. They've been doing so much brain research lately on um, memories and consciousness and figuring out where things come from. And now they think that memories are not even stored in one place in the brain. Like one memory is not stored in one particular cell, that it's actually spread across different cells. And so if the connections between those cells break or are weakened, that explains why we don't remember certain events as clearly. We'll remember a piece of the event very clearly. We don't remember the beginning of it or where we were before it or things like that. So it's very injury suppressive by drinking scotch. Not the healthiest coping mechanism, but quite effective, I imagine. I literally pick every topic to keep yourself on the procrastinating path, don't you? Yeah, pretty much. That's what this live is about. Um, Probably procrastinate actually until the boys get here this afternoon is kind of where I'm at right now. I have work that I could do. We don't have to work on the weekends, but there is my day job that I could be working at. I did do that a little bit yesterday, so I kind of feel justified in not doing it today. The dogs have been fed. They've been out about 15 times, so they're taken care of. They're happy napping now. So it was start cleaning, screw around on YouTube, um, play a game. Like I said, I don't watch TV, so I don't fill my time with that. Uh, what about you guys? What do you do to procrastinate? Or don't you procrastinate? Some people, they very rarely procrastinate. Uh, they just, my dad is one of them. Things need to get done, you do it and you do it now. Although it's to his detriment at times because sometimes things should wait to be able to get other pieces of that project lined up. So you don't have to go to the store 14 times. But it gets on his mind and he just can't let it go. And he's like, oh, I got to do it right now. Hey, Thindu, what's up? You loving on your little one yet today? And that could mean Vito or Enzo. You don't procrastinate. judge. I won't judge you for that, but I will say that I'm envious. I am the queen of procrastination. If there was a better title, I'd probably give it to myself. Uh, I procrastinated all my life. Um, and I do really think it's because of trauma. I've looked a lot into this, area, and it's um, certainly one of the effects that can come out of trauma, and all of the all of the trauma effects that we do have, like, low self-esteem, and trouble with motivation and things of that nature, that it is something I think is part and parcel with it. So I definitely am the queen of procrastination, especially when I don't really want to do it. Even when I do want to do something, I tend to procrastinate. It's bad, guys. It's really bad. Judge, you'd love to sit down, but your mind won't let you. Yeah, that's kind of like my dad. It sounds like he definitely is a, if it needs to be done, do it now, and then you've got your free time later. The problem with him is he has a laundry list a mile long, and I swear his brain just comes up with more things to do. Like, there's always going to be things to do in your life, but there is some point where you have to say, well, that'll be a project for tomorrow, and let that be okay, to be able to give yourself that time to relax and enjoy, instead of just passing out from exhaustion in in the chair in front of the TV. Little nuggets on his way. That's awesome. What's for Sunday dinner? Does anybody does anybody else do a big Sunday dinner? We never did. Obviously, we're not Christians, so uh, Sunday dinner was never a thing for us. It was always just if we were home on the weekends, then we did stuff. But otherwise, we always had sit down dinner, at least, growing up. It's something that I I wanted to have for my son, but with my mental break, I I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So now that I'm better, I do try and make some meals, and he's helping me. So he's learning, how to cook, learning how to do things, which is great. That will serve him well when he's completely on his own. I'll be interested to talk to him because he's had to fend for himself food wise for a week. So I'll be really interested to see what he's been eating this past week, to see if he cooked anything or if it was just pizza and sandwiches and cereal, which I kind of have a feeling it was, and ramen. Law Ninja sounds better than Procrastination Queen. I was going to just push live on my other channel, but I have to hook StreamYard up to it, and it wasn't finding it through the email. So I'm not really sure what to do. I'm going to have to play around with it more and um, see how to figure out how to connect that. So I'm not sure what's going on. Otherwise, I'll just have to push live from YouTube directly, which isn't great because then it doesn't have as many features. So, but I suppose for the first time or two, it would be okay. I've got some ideas on things. I don't want to cover the Karen Reed trial because everybody's doing it. So I'm trying to find some cases that will be more interesting than that. My East Coasters, have you guys been following what's going on with New England lately? and all the bodies that they've been finding up there. That reminds me of a while back when they found those 8 bodies on Long Island. I'm not sure what the count's up to right now, but the police were initially like, "Yeah, we don't wanna call it a serial killer," but I'm like, when you're finding, like, 3, 4, 5 bodies, either everybody used a particular area. Sorry, guys, the dog. The Lord only knows what they heard. There's absolutely nothing out there and nobody's here, so. Hey, that's enough. Um, but I wanna get into that case. There's just not much that they're releasing on it yet. So, but I think they are willing to call it a serial killer now, because it's either that or everybody and their mother was using it as a dumping ground. So, it's that's pretty interesting to me. Um, if you have any cases that you are interested in that you'd like to see covered on that channel, um, email me right now, surviving together, sass@gmail.com. Ooh, that's something else I need to add to my list of things to do. I need to do a Law Ninja Gmail. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get the Law Ninja or even just Law Ninja. So we'll see. I might be able to get Law Ninja Dash Mac though. So I'll put that on my list of things to do. I also need to do some things for my book. I need to do some writing with my book. I will not be coming to New York City for the book launch anymore. They have moved it to Canada. The announcement should be done, I hope, soon. So I haven't put a community post up about it, but because of the political climate, they said, the unpredictability of the current political situation in the United States, which I thought was really interesting. I'm not really sure. The organizers are from Australia, so I'm not really sure what they think about the US. The authors are from all over the world, though, so I guess if most people are uncomfortable with it, that it makes sense for them to have moved it. But yeah, we'll be in Canada instead. Um, However, I'm still coming out to the East Coast this summer. I have a plane ticket I need to use out there. I was hoping I'd be able to use it to get myself to Salt Lake to that trauma retreat, but no go. They don't go there. So still figuring that one out. That's interesting, Judge. You've done a lot of study on the brain and how it functions. Yeah, I was just looking at some things this morning. And interestingly enough, they just did a brain scan study of volunteers, and they were doing it on the connection between insomnia, depression, and anxiety, and finding that each of those resides basically in 3 different parts of the brain. The frontal cortex or the cerebral cortex, the hippocampus, and the amygdala, but it's this circuit. uh, so they're all related because it's how, one piece of the brain talks to another in terms of getting things done. And the circuitry, and that's why they're so connected. It was really interesting study. I'm not They've had so many studies that they've been doing about the links between anxiety and depression, and insomnia is not as included as much. But I read another study that was talking about depression and the gut, and it's funny when some of these places report on a particular study, they make it sound like it's the first time that this has ever been discovered, and there's a growing body of evidence, to support this, that it's certain microbes that we're either lacking or have an overabundance of or something that um, they're not ready to say what causes it, like whether it's the brain, whether it's the gut, or the combination of the two, because they haven't gotten that far yet. But certainly in terms of depression, fixes, therapies, that having a particular diet, I think they're getting closer to that, to say, eat this or don't eat this, and this could help, along with whatever therapies that they have for, the brain, which is mostly medication. But it's very, very interesting. Oh, that's right, and you live on a very little sleep as well. So, yeah, your brain is wired in a very interesting way, Judge. That's fascinating. Nita, why am I not surprised you can't sleep if something needs to be done? But can you say that this project can wait till tomorrow? Can you have, like, that separateness? Because sometimes by the time you get done with things, it's too late in the day, really, right? To start another project. Um, and so I think there's value in being able to say, okay, that is going to be my tomorrow project. Now I have time to sit down and do something else, whatever that something else is, whether you call it free time or just relaxation time to yourself, to be doing something different. I think that there's, certainly value in that. My brain must place too much emphasis on, I don't know. I don't know why. I've always procrastinated. It's always been a problem for me. That's why yesterday I related so much to that meme that said, you know, I just got done doing something that took me 5 months that I've been putting off for 7. And it kills me when I do. I have something on my list that's been on there for months. And it's so simple. It takes 4 minutes, but my brain is so resistant to doing it. It's like, "No, I don't wanna do that. No, that's." And it's not even that it says that it's too difficult. It's just this, no, there's something that you'd be rather be doing. And I don't know if I'm so lacking in dopamine hits that it strives for anything that is pleasurable, that it wants so much of that it's willing to put off all those other things, in favor of the things that do give me pleasure. I don't know if that's it. It'd be really, really interesting. I'd be interested to know. You've been studied, Judge? Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Not funny, but it's very interesting. I wonder if they learned anything. Judge, what part of the country are you, by the way? I'm not even sure if you're in the US. I think you are. But if you don't mind me asking, it's obviously it's not something you have to answer. Not everybody's comfortable revealing that kind of information. So I certainly don't. Um, Texas. Oh, okay. Got it. I think I have one other person I know from Texas from meeting on YouTube. We think my cousin's still in Texas. Nobody's heard from him lately, but we think that he's in Texas. Yeah, my dad announced at dinner the other night well, it was last Thursday. He's just like, "Oh yeah, and we're having a family reunion for my side of the family, May whatever it is. Would love if you could come." I'm like, "How long have they been organizing this? How long have you known about this? And you're telling me like 2 weeks ahead of time? What the heck? Give me a little bit more lead notice because I'd like to go. I mean, there's several branches of that family that are coming together that honest is I don't think I've ever met. Um, it's not a family that gets together very often. They've been spread out since I was a young kid. So I'd be interested in going to the family. Plus, there's going to be tons of good Polish food. I mean, really, what more could you want? That would just be awesome. But it's a Saturday. I said, I've got my live. I don't know what's going to be going on with work. If I had planned for it a little bit farther in advance, I could possibly do it. I don't think that I have a guest scheduled for that day, but I am waiting on those two people to nail in their times, and I have to be available to them, for when it's most convenient for them since I've been trying to chase them down. So, a simple farm boy. Do you actually live on a farm? Do you actually farm the you just well, you're answering my question. You're going to do some bush hogging, get some fence fixed. All right. We will talk to you later. Well, I've been on for 45 minutes already, and I was actually about to wrap this up. It was nice talking with you guys this morning. Different from what I normally do. Maybe I'll pop in and do this every now and then. Yeah, absolutely, Kamal. I do love me some good Polish food. It's hard to get. There's one Polish meat market here that does make their own kielbasa, which is awesome. My brother actually brought some a few weeks ago. He stopped by and got some. But otherwise, it's pretty much anytime we go into Chicago that we're going to get it. So I think I probably have a trip that needs to happen there sometime soon. Although I have a lot of trips that I want to do. Which, speaking of which, those come first. Those saving for those trips has got to come first. I have just told myself that, it I met with somebody who's hopefully well, he's agreed to come on the channel. We're just trying to nail down a time, but he is big into fundraising for his own mental health advocacy that he does, and hopefully we're going to be able to get to talk and um, figure out some fundraising ideas for Surviving Together, so that especially now that the book launch has been moved to Canada, that's going to be a whole separate ticket. Um, it's in a place where I don't think I'm going to be able to stay with anybody, so there's probably going to be hotel involved with that. Because I really, really, really want to try and make that book launch and be able to speak at the summit. That would be huge for the channel in getting the word out about what we do. So I really want to try to make that. And I still have the trauma retreat that I'm trying to make happen. So between the book launch and all the fees and the flights and everything that's with that and the flights to Salt Lake City, really hoping that we can come up with some good ideas. I know that he's done a lot of work with that. So um, I have no idea what form that will take. Might be something that I will do totally separately on just LinkedIn. Might include you guys and rope you in with it if you're interested in being a part of it too. No idea. So we'll just have to wait and see. So that's on the horizon. All right, guys. Um, yeah, I've made myself hungry now, Carmel. I think I'm going to have to grab some breakfast before I get going. Um, And that's something that I should have done earlier, right? So that's not actually procrastinating. That's giving myself energy to actually be able to clean. So I think that that's a good plan. We'll eat something and then we'll get started. So have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Hopefully I will see you on Monday or no, Monday. Monday I'm off YouTube. Wednesday at 6 p.m. for our normal live. Who knows? Maybe I'll push live in the meantime, maybe not, but we'll be talking about going from awareness to action with your mental health, and it'll be a great conversation. So may the 4th be with you. Happy 4th, everybody. Cinco de Mayo is coming up now, and looking forward to that. So maybe I'll force myself to go out. Maybe I'll force myself to go out tomorrow. We'll have to see. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy our outro that Jimena made for us. I actually changed it, so it should be the correct one this time. All right. Remember, you are worthy, you are valuable, and you're loved just the way you are for who you are. Hugs and love from me. Mwah. Surviving together, never alone. Bye, guys.
Through the fire, through the rain, we have walked through endless pain, but we stand, we rise again, stronger now, we break the chain, surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. Every tear, every scar tells the story of who we are. Not just survivors, but warriors too. With love as our armor, we see this through. We see you, we hear you, and we believe in you. Surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. We see you, we hear you, and we believe in you. Surviving together.